Press.
Good evening and welcome to the December 11th, 2023 Tualatin City Council meeting. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, led by Councilor Brooks. Thank you, Councilor Brooks. All right, that brings us to public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the council regarding an item that is not on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments to about 3 minutes. If there's anyone here in this room or in the Zoom meeting who'd like to address council, this would be the appropriate time. I have one sign up, and that is Len Schauber. Welcome, Mr. Schauber.
Hi, I'm Len Schauber, 19919 Southwest Schauber Lane, Tualatin, address out by Walker's Corner. And I would like to just wholeheartedly suggest that you all go ahead with your request for Metro funds to do a study for the Portland area for traffic and facilities, because it's one of those things that's been a long time waiting to need to be done. And especially with 205 expansion, ODOT coming up and saying they didn't have any plans at all for development, so they need the information. So I just encourage you to approve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room would like to public comment? Do we have anyone in Zoom land, Nicole? That is not an artificial intelligence bot. We don't want to listen to them. All right, thank you. That brings us to the consent agenda. The consent agenda are items that are considered routine and passed by one motion. Council would like, is there anyone who would like anything on the consent agenda removed and heard separately later tonight? All right. We'll have to read them first, don't I? Really? Huh? I was like this at the coordinating committee too, jumping all over the agenda. So item number 1 is consideration for approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of November 27, 2023 as amended after this evening, correct? Is that how we should say it, Kevin? This mic not cooperating.
Sorry, Your Honor. I believe that the actual agenda item is stated on the agenda itself. I'm pulling it up now. Do you have it?
He's talking about. He's talking about.
That's correct. You're under Rule 6B3. Councilor Gonzalez can actually request a change or correction to the minutes, and that can be done at this point. Councilor Gonzalez will actually state what the correction or amendment should be, and then the council will vote on the changes as amended.
All right. So is that done now or later in communications?
It's up for consideration at this point.
Right. So Councilor Gonzalez.
You read it for me. I just don't remember the exact, please.
He requested that with reservations on how the plan is presented be added to the last sentence of his comments.
So we have to vote on that, or this is a new one. I don't remember this ever.
He acknowledged the limited feedback. So we're reading the whole sentence. Oh yes, I can read the whole sentence if you want. He acknowledged the limited feedback received on the plan, but noted the significance of moving forward with reservations on how the plan is presented. I concurred with the spirit of his comment.
And Your Honor, there's a couple ways to handle that. You could certainly take a specific vote, or if by unanimous consent that is allowed under Robert's rules, and that is without objection, the minutes are approved as amended.
everyone okay with unanimous consent? Yes. All right. Phew. 12 years, never came up before. Item number 2, consideration of resolution number 5744-23, authorizing an amendment with Republic Services to subcontract regulated medical waste. And finally, item number 3, consideration of resolution number 5745-23, authorizing the manager to execute settlement agreement and mutual release, execute documents necessary to purchase right-of-way for construction of the Boones Ferry Corridor Sidewalk and Bike Lane Phase 3 project. Would any counselor like one of these items pulled from consent and heard later tonight?
I'm going to make an attempt. I move that we adopt the consent agenda, items 2 and 3 as read, and item 1 as amended.
Second.
I have a motion second to adopt items number 2 and 3 as read and item number 1 as amended. Any discussions on those motions? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. All right. That brings us to general business. Item number 1, consideration of Recycle Plus expanded recycling service provided by Republic Services. Welcome. Welcome, Lindsay.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Lindsay Marshall, Management Analyst in Public Works. I am here joined with my colleague from Republic Services, Travis Comfort, and we're here to talk about Recycle Plus. And so Recycle Plus will get, whoops, did I? Nope.
Didn't jump yet.
Didn't jump. Is an expanded recycling services offered throughout Washington County and through all the major haulers, and we'll get into a little bit more detail later. But just full, did it go no? Nope. Do I have to wait for it to? Oh, you pointed back. Okay. All right, I'll just say slide. We'll just wave. So, just as a quick refresher, recycling is just essentially the process of collecting and then processing materials that would otherwise be thrown away for some kind of a repurpose or reuse, to take something that would be trash to then do something different with it. And with throughout the region, metro region, the home and business recycling stream is standardized, which means it's the same throughout the region. So all home recycling and all business recycling is the same to create consistency. Slide, please. And right now, our current standardized recycling collection, as a refresher, so these are Metro approved graphics, and this is what you might have gotten a mailer from Washington County in the last year, and it has these images on it. So standard recycling, you see things like plastic jugs, there's aluminum and cans and cardboard, that kind of thing, no plastic bags. We have a separate bin for our recycling cart. And of glass, and then there's the whole items that are garbage. So this is the standard graphic image that can help all of us know what goes in our recycling bins and what should stay out of our garbage. Slide, please. Now, solid waste and recycling, as you know, is provided in Tualatin by our partner, Republic Services, as our sole franchise hauler. And so we have about 6,000 customers, residential customers, and that's single family up through fourplex homes. About 55 multifamily customers, and then nearly 800 commercial customers. So Republic is serving all of these. Businesses have their own recycling ordinance. This was adopted years ago, so all businesses in Tualatin are required to recycle by ordinance. And then all of our regular pickup for our customers includes trash recycling and yard debris. And what we're going to be talking about for Recycle Plus will affect those 6,000 or so residential customers. And currently, to kind of set up how Recycle Plus is different than regular recycling, curbside recycling, so the recycling that our residents take from homes or places of living to the curbside, is a two-sort system. So we've got commingled, which is that mixed recycling in one bin, so that's your cardboard, your cans, plastic jugs, that kind of thing. And then our glass is separated out into a separate bin. So there's that two-sort system of the acceptable recycled items. Slide. Now, big differentiation here is that curbside recycled items does not equal all of the things in the world that are able to be recycled, right? So there are lots of things that can be recycled, but are not accepted in our standard recycling curbside stream. So the things you can take from your house, put it on the curb, and they'll pick it up. Why is that? Processing differences. So, slide please. There is a gap in what you can get curbside. And if you're thinking, if we're just talking about curbside, right? What goes curbside, we can put it in our bins, and then there's stuff that we can go in our trash. There's this middle piece of things that are technically recyclable, but can't go in our commingled curbside bin. Next slide. And so for an example of some of these hard to recycle items, they're processed differently, and that's why they can't go in the commingled recycling. Our commingled recycling is sorted by hand on a line, and there's places that those go. And so things like plastic bags and stretchy films, you can recycle those, but it's hard to recycle. For one example, they get tangled in sorting equipment, so it's not great to put those plastic bags in with your commingled that gets dumped on a line. They can get stuck in equipment and other things. Plastic clamshells, those are often made with different recipes of plastic, and so they require a different kind of breakdown because they have different kinds of plastic in them. And they're often contaminated also, so if we just kind of rinse and not actually soap out our clamshells, it's technically considered contaminated. And polystyrene, styrofoam, is also a hard one. It breaks apart. It requires a different kind of processing in a special facility. And even just from like putting it in the trucks, I mean, it blows away, and again, it goes everywhere, and then it's an environmental hazard of a different kind. You've got little balls of microplastics, and I always think of the birds. I'm like, please don't eat this tiny ball of styrofoam plastic. So that's just one example of technically you can recycle these things, but they're harder to do, and the processing is different, and it requires a special way of doing things. And so we've had some solutions for these hard to recycle items. For glass, for instance, we can recycle them, but they go in a separate bin, right? You don't want them breaking. They're a hazard for people sorting. They could get jammed in equipment, the little shards. Our yard waste and food waste can get processed, but we keep it separate out of, because you don't want a bunch of banana peels in with your cardboard. It's hard to deal with. And then batteries, like we just accepted, they are able to be recycled, but again, we learn that we have to put them in the plastic bags, tape the ends, so it's a different process, right? And that's kind of an easy one because you just put it in a bag, put it on the recycling bin. It's easy to grab that bag out of the glass and process it differently. Okay. And so this is where we get into Recycle Plus and how Recycle Plus can fill that gap. And I will pass it over to Travis for the technical information there.
Thank you for the lead in, Lindsay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure to be here and presenting on Recycle Plus to you all. I've been working with Lindsay on recycling and garbage for almost 5 years now. So it's a pleasure to bring this for your consideration today. We'll start by discussing the bin. It is almost identical to your glass recycling container. It does have a lid, and that's primarily because these materials must remain dry to be processed. That's kind of what Lindsay was kind of talking about with the way the materials have to be handled. And I do have some examples we'll show you in just a minute, but each material stream is individually bagged. We supply the bags and the tote as part of the service. So each time the driver comes and collects your materials, they leave clean, empty bags for you to put your next round of materials in. Slide, please. Our staff was super thrilled to enter into your Christmas light parade this year. So our supervisor, Leanne, she organized her team for decorating, and she joined our driver, Steven, who is one of your compactor and large container delivery drivers. Next slide, please.
But that's the actual Recycle Plus truck.
And that's the actual Recycle Plus truck. So it's the same one on the next slide. So what they did is they had our site in Woodburn does a lot of metal fabrication and repairs our large containers. So they created these like separate grates that the drivers can sort the material in. So ideally, when this service becomes a lot larger, there's individual bins where they can sort as they're doing the collection. Currently, there's not enough to need to sort en route, so it's being sorted once we get back to WRI. Next slide, please. So the main key component of this service versus your standard recycling service is it's an opt-in optional service. So there's no subscription. Customers can start and stop at any time. And we are currently able to offer this service to single families up to 4plexes, but we are, through the Haulers Association, working with several multifamily complexes on different variations of Recycle Plus to get it to multifamily complexes. So we're working with 3 different property managers right now for not only pooling the materials into one central location, but testing out different, even a roll cart situation. And then the county initially wanted us to go to each unit, but having the drivers both hands carrying a tote up and down the stairs just wasn't something we could do. So we're trying to pilot several different options, and then so we'll be coming back to you guys next year with a rollout for multifamily and commercial Recycle Plus as well. Currently, it's available to all unincorporated and rural Washington County customers that are unincorporated. Clackamas County adopted it just about 6 months ago, and it's available in Beaverton, King City, Durham, Sherwood, and North Plains. Wilsonville just adopted it. It takes effect January 1st, and Lake Oswego, we're on their agenda to get it done in Q1 of next year. So, next slide, please. The 4 main material streams are the plastic film and packaging bags. As Lindsay mentioned before, the reason why those had to get pulled out of the commingle stream is that they tangle the sorting equipment, and they are the largest stream that we've been getting with Recycle Plus. So this is an example of a 5-gallon bag. Each stream gets 5 gallons for each pickup. So there's 5 bags individually, and then you got your number 1 clear clamshells. A lot of the colored ones, primarily the black ones, the black bottom ones, they're number 6, so that they're actually polystyrene. So it's a different material that can't be recycled with these. And then textiles, again, we don't always think about these as being recyclable, but they are. These primarily go to rags. But just like the clamshells and the plastic film, it does need to remain clean and dry for those processors to mess with the textiles. This was a pickup from 2 weeks ago. So the pickups are every other Wednesday, so the second Wednesday and fourth Wednesday of the month. And this one, unfortunately, didn't have any compact fluorescent bulbs, but those have been coming in, and they get the same volume as all the other streams. Next slide, please. So seasonally, we started just over a year and a half ago in Washington County. So this is our second collection for Christmas tree lights. So we do this for our January collection. So not only when you get decorating and you see the ones that don't work from last year, but after you're taking them down, some of them didn't survive the holiday party. So both of the collection events in January, people can put as many of the Christmas tree lights in there as well. We do reuse events each quarter. The first one we did was a kitchenware. Turned out really good. A lot of people wanted to participate. We worked with the county to see what community action could give out. Next slide, please. The second one we learned from the first one is they also needed the kitchenware to go with it. So we did utensils. Then this is kind of leading into the next one where now we're going to focus on small appliances for the next round. So just getting that customer-to-customer feedback has been really beneficial, but we're always looking for input. So if you guys have ideas for reuse events in the future, we want to do them every quarter. And obviously we'll work with Lindsay to pitch ideas to you guys as well for your consideration. Next slide, please. So it wasn't in the PowerPoint slide you guys got last week. They literally sent this after Lindsay and I finished. This is the postcard Washington County sends out to all Recycle Plus customers, current and past. This went out last week. And so it kind of gives you a detailed explanation of how to prepare them. You can see the old style light bulbs do need to be removed from the strings before recycling. And that has to do with the LED ones having the internal plastic is almost the same as the wiring itself. So the wires are primarily melted down for the metal filament in the wire. Next slide, please. In the back again is just more instructional. They're not limited to the 5 gallons. Last year we didn't have anybody give a crazy amount, so we've kind of left it open. They can be larger. And this does go out in English and Spanish. Next slide, please. So this was that standard Metro graphic that Lindsay kind of went over just a minute ago. These got standardized just about 2 years ago with Metro, so they're the same graphic we have to use over and over again. But as you can see, these 4 items do divert those materials from the landfill for Recycle Plus to responsible end markets. So it pulls items out of each material stream. And then the note in the middle, which didn't exist on the PowerPoint last week was a note that I got from our operations team. I guess our number one glass contaminant is broken dishware. So they just really wanted me to let you guys know. Our drivers take a lot of pride in servicing the city, and so they just always pull me aside when they know I'm coming into council and give me their 2 cents. Next slide, please. So I had to add it in there. So the main components is that, I said before, it's a non-subscription monthly opt-in service. Customers have 2 options or opportunities each month to participate, and that's the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month. Obviously, if we grow to a huge capacity, we might introduce a second collection day, but we haven't had to do that yet. All of our drivers are union drivers, and they're paid a living wage. And the material collected currently all goes to Far West Recycling. They're just off of TV Highway between Aloha and Hillsborough. Next slide, please. So the 2 core rates to Recycle Plus is that monthly fee of $250. That's to cover the tote and the bags and the base part of the program. The pickup rate is where they get customized based on the customer. So the standard rate is just if you put it out either right next to your glass cart, or when you put out your glass cart, you put it at the curb. That's $9.25. And then if you would like it either at the door or back by the garage door, we just work with our ops team, and then it's between 150 feet from the curb, it's $11.70. And then if you're going up to 150 feet or beyond, it's $13.02. And as we talked about when we were here for rates, we are willing to work with Lindsay and Community Action if we wanted to do, or if the council wanted to do a reduced rate or not charge disabled residents that up the curb or up the driveway fee. Next slide, please. So yeah, again, coming soon. We're already past the deadline for starting multifamily in Washington County. It just had to be paused for logistics and insurance purposes. But we're hoping to have either a good solid solution coming out in Q1 or Q2 of next year. So again, we'll be back to talk about more Recycle Plus next year. In terms of the issues, again, it's somewhat to do with the billing in terms of individual customers when their core service is through the property manager, because we don't have a driver going to each door, and then where the apartment complex would designate their container, and then whether or not we would need to lock the containers so that somebody else didn't try to put stuff in your Recycle Plus container or even contaminate it. Because at a lot of multifamily complexes, we do see a lot of, when the garbage service isn't enough, some of that does pool over into the recycling. If they see that the garbage container's full, they're not going to take it back up to their apartment. So just to prevent that, currently we've had 0 contamination in Recycle Plus streams. So that kind of shines a positive light on the source separation. So source separation is when we collect it, it's separated materials. And because of that, and that's why the bags are clear, so that the driver can see whether the clamshells have been cleaned out, the textiles aren't soaking in some sort of liquid or an oil rag from the garage. So we're really proud of that. And then that source separation and reduced contamination is why it's economical then to process these, because you don't have the back end resorting that you have from your commingle system. And yeah, next slide, please.
Oh, back to me. So thank you, Travis, for the overview. And so, we've talked a lot about equity and why we want to offer Recycle Plus as an expanded curbside solution. So, people can take these items to WRI. They could take them to New Seasons or elsewhere. But if we're talking about the convenience of curbside, having this service as an optional service that if people want to subscribe and have the ability to do so, it will meet those customers' needs and budget. And some people are willing to pay more for the convenience of that kind of recycling. And if they're willing to do that, why not offer that as an option for them to help increase that recycling? And giving it as an optional service also keeps kind of base rates lower for everybody, right? Because this is a pricier service if it's $9.25 a pickup, right? But if you're only subscribing if you want or need it, then it's going to keep that base overall rate lower for our customers. There's also the environmental benefits, of course, of recycling and reuse. Responsible waste management is one of the components of our drafted climate action plan, and so this would be one of those kind of immediate action items for that part of the climate action plan, as well as the council's goals of being an environmentally active, forward-thinking community, and offering these expanded recycling services is one of the ways to do that. And it can begin immediately, which is great. It's already an established program throughout the county and in our neighboring jurisdictions. And so if we get direction from council to bring back Recycle Plus as a resolution and it's adopted, customers can start calling in and get that Recycle Plus service as soon as it's adopted. So there wouldn't be a long rollout period for this particular service. So I think that covers it, and we're open for questions.
Questions? Councilor Gonzalez.
So thank you very much for this information. I think this lines up perfectly with the climate action plan. This is exactly what we should be doing, is recycling our constituents. I do see two opportunities for business here. One is obviously there is a busy household, right? I'm a busy household, kids, activities. We're generating a lot of stuff, a lot of debris. So I'm up to get this. It saves me a convenient trip on the weekends to have to coordinate this. Yeah. But there is also those people who don't really need that recurring cost. You know, you have seniors who only have a lot to do, don't have a lot of things, single people. Are you open to having yearly events twice a year, maybe to capture those who may only need that one shot? You know, who will save it in their patio just in hopes to wait for that day? Because if we're going to be charging for busy households like myself, all day will pay for this. But then there's people who don't generate a lot of things, who are mindful, they buy less, they take it locally, but who also are saving that big recycling thing for those events. Would you be open to those kinds of activities as well?
Of course, we've already spoken with Lindsay about doing seasonal or drop box events around the city. That's kind of part of the Recycling Modernization Act, which we'll be back again next quarter to talk to you guys about. And that'll cover also the other stream that was on Lindsay's slide of hard to recycle, which is the polystyrene. So that's covered under the RMA. So we kind of got to wait to incorporate that. So anyways, don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. But yes, we are open to that, and there are many more opportunities coming.
You had mentioned working with property managers for multifamily. How about property managers for homeowner associations, which is a huge, huge need out there? Would you be open for those kinds of partnerships should they avail themselves?
Yeah, we currently offer it to HOA in Wilsonville, so Villawaa can get it. And so they currently get glass, so they just put it out at the same location they put their glass bin. But yeah, it's totally available.
Thank you.
Other questions? Sacco.
Thank you, and I think that this is a great program, and really looking forward to bringing it to Tualatin. If I miss this, I apologize. But the special collection drives and the items that are collected for reuse, what happens to where are those being donated? How are those being reused?
So the reuse ones are going through community action currently.
Community warehouse.
So yeah, they're the ones coordinating that, and they're the ones that kind of communicated the need. So.
Councilor Hillier.
Yeah, thank you. Other than the purple, like seriously, I see you're committed to it, but are you just
I'm not
trying
into
to
the
kill
foosball.
us or what? Yeah.
Well,
Are you a Texas fan? What is it?
So
All
the color thing is again another Metro thing. So they've standardized colors for collections of streams. So it was this, or I think it was a light
Orange
yellow.
would even be better.
Well, the problem with the lighter colors, you can't use recycled material to make it. So they also require more than 40% recycled material to make it. So
I
you need
just
a
don't
dark
care.
enough color to wash
Spray paint
the yeah.
I'll
I
be
know
spray painting.
Washington's a good neighbor there, you know. If you don't watch football, it's just not a thing. Like I'm telling you. And it's easily
Travis.
visible. Drivers won't miss it.
Stop talking.
You're losing her vote.
No,
She sympathizes.
no, I don't. Actually, I don't. But so I guess I would like to address, since you brought it up, the rate for the non-curbside pickup, the 5 to 150 feet, the increased fees. And I guess I would absolutely, in the same spirit as our conversation about removing the $30 shut-off fee for the water, I think if we have people who are not able to get their stuff all the way out to the curb, I'm not sure those are the people we want to charge. So I would love to see us at least have better conversation, better understanding about that. I'm not sure I'm very clear, but I'm concerned about that upcharge.
It is eligible as of right now
Yeah.
for folks that have a disability. It is a waived charge for the extra fee.
So this is a convenience fee then only?
Yes.
And not,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of on an individual basis then,
Correct.
conversation?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you for the clarification.
Other questions?
Councilor Brooks?
My question was the same as Councilor Hillier's. I was wondering which nonprofit, but as we're thinking about it, I just support not only our climate action plan, but our ways that we can connect in our community with
Yeah.
each other. And so I think it'll be nice for our city, and I think it'll be nice for our public. So kudos, and I'm glad for the community warehouse.
Thank you for having, and we're willing to work with other nonprofits too. So again, if council has others that see a need or you know of a need, we can definitely switch those up. So that's not something set in stone. But we do like using them, and people do like the reuse events. So.
Thank you.
Councilperson Pratt.
Oh, I have a suggestion. Maybe you could do like small tools or.
Yeah.
something,
Oh,
you
definitely.
know.
Yeah.
And
Tools
my
are always
husband
popular.
can clean out his garage. My-
Fishing gear.
Yeah. With this, I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So would people, do they have to call or do something, or do they just set it out with their other garbage?
Oh, sorry, I didn't make that clear. Yeah, they call or email us 2 business days before their desired pickup day.
So there is like an extra
Yeah.
step. Okay.
And so when they call into the customer service line, they'll say that they would like to have this service, and then our local ops clerk will reach out and call them, and then she'll establish whether they would like an email notification or if they would like the call notification.
But could they just email? Because I'm not
Yeah,
going to call.
they can email or call.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just great at customer service. So so it gets routed from customer service to the local office, and then she reaches out and sets it up whether you want to be on email or to call in.
Okay.
Some
and
people still like to call
Yeah.
too.
And then I want to thank you for 2 things.
Yeah.
One is, of course, the parade. I was so excited to see
Yeah,
the track the
the
parade.
team really
and,
liked it.
And then the second is that I know we've mentioned in the past we really want services to our multifamily complexes, and that you're looking into that. That's
Oh
really
yeah,
appreciated.
it's a big component of this, and we were with Washington County when the program was created, and that's why we had already set a date. So it's been on the agenda the whole time, and so yeah, we just would need to figure out a way, because also too the county didn't want to mandate, so that's also something for council to consider. Are you going to mandate property managers do it? Because it requires a bill split or managing the material. Do you keep it in the office? Do you put it in enclosures? Yeah, so a lot of things for you guys to consider the next time we're back. But yeah, we've even had businesses ask about it. So we're looking at larger volumes or roll carts or other options for larger quantity users.
Councilor Reyes.
Yeah, I just thank you for the presentation. I know your company has done some. It's not Recycle Plus, but it's you bring in a big giant truck or something at the Las Casitas area
Yeah.
or 68th Street. Just want to thank you for that. Do you do this once a year or twice a year, or is it something that we coordinate in the city to bring in? Because I know
For
that's
Las
a-
Casitas?
yeah. Is that something we coordinate with you?
Yes,
or-
so that is something that I work with Betsy, our community engagement coordinator, and then we work with Republic to schedule the dates and times, and our Republic partners bring in the roll carts and transfer them in and out for a day. And those are funds that the city applies for through Metro's regional refresh funds, which are for equity-focused areas for things like community event cleanups. And so we're aiming to do that at least once a year, if not twice, going forward.
And those funds are for the disposal. We still donate the driver time and the box and all that stuff.
Oh gosh.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Oh, okay. I appreciate that. I just feedback from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I bumped on at Fred Meyers with one of the residents there and was so thankful for that.
Yeah.
So whoever's putting it together, I know Betsy's part of it, but they say that they wish they had it more than once a year because it's just a way for them to not just clean, not just for them, but just the community comes together and they actually help one another to get rid of things. And they actually, that's where their mind is like, they're learning about what's recycled, what's clean up, what's all these different signs that we put, what does it mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, what to do. So I think I just want to make that comment because it was brought up to me when I was at a Fred Meyer, just shopping, and I bumped into them, and they were just giving me feedback on that.
No, it's been a great event, and yeah, I think we've done 4 to 6 hauls each event. So like they're filling them up, and they're moving the boxes multiple times through the day for those events. So yeah.
Okay. Other questions? I just have one wonky question.
Yeah.
The lid and the bin, how well does it handle the weather?
Really
since-
well, actually.
Especially
so
since.
it clicks on, so even with the wind, it's not going to go anywhere.
Okay.
And then it's got holes on the bottom, so all properly prepared material. There shouldn't be any liquids or anything coming out of there. So like that base rate, we really tried to keep it as low as possible, so it doesn't include anything like washouts. Like your standard service, you can have your glass bin or your roll cart washed once a year at no extra charge to the customer. So that's not built into this, but that's part of the design of like source separation and putting the material in the bags, is that your container's also not getting dirty or grimy on the inside.
The lid getting cracked or anything like that?
We haven't had any issues with that yet.
All right.
Thankfully.
All right. And if somehow a neighbor, someone runs it over or something, is there a replacement cost for somebody, or how's it if someone has to get it replaced?
Currently there isn't. If it becomes an issue, we'll just come back to council and come up with a replacement charge. But we're really hopeful. Again, a lot of the people that have signed up for it are very conscious about recycling, and they, so it hasn't been an issue yet.
Good.
But yeah, we'll keep you apprised of the situation.
All right. So with no further questions, do we all, how do we feel about having this put on a future city council agenda for resolution? I don't believe we have to vote on this. We just have to get head nods. Yep. Okay.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Thank
Really
you so
appreciate your
much.
time. Thank you.
All right. It's probably gonna be Cindy spray painting hers, yeah. All right, that brings us to item number 2, consideration of resolution number, it won't be purple.
Sorry about the purple.
Resolution 5739-23, authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with Community Action Organization to provide eligibility verification for low-income utility bill assistance program. Welcome back, Don.
Easy for you to say.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Don Hudson. I'm the Assistant City Manager, and I'm back in front of you excited to have the Memorandum of Understanding with Community Action for our Low-Income Utility Bill Assistance Program. Just a little background, we talked about this during our budget process, about setting up a program. We set aside some funds in the Water and Sewer Fund to do this. We've been communicating with Community Action, and we now have the MOU in front of you for approval this evening. What this will provide for us as Community Action will be the place where people apply for the assistance, and they will do the income verification for us. Once they have determined the person is eligible, they will contact city staff and will put the credit on the person's account. Qualifications for the program will be at the 60% of the Oregon annual median income for the past 60 days. That amount for a family of 4 is currently about $4,700 per month, or $56,430 per year. If you saw in one of the documents I had attached, it had the levels for the different size households. Additionally, this is an exciting part as well, is if the customer is actively enrolled in SNAP or the WIC program, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, the Oregon Health Plan, free and reduced lunch, energy assistance programs, public housing, Section 8 choice voucher program, or project-based voucher program, they will also be eligible for the program. So if they're already actively in those programs, they will be eligible to participate in our program as well. We settled on a $300 bill forgiveness per fiscal year. So if we get the notification that a family is eligible, we will put the $300 credit on the account. And if their balance is only $200, then they have $100 towards future bills. So we figured it was a lot easier just to have a dollar amount, and once they're eligible, we put it on, and that's per fiscal year. Again, they will apply through Community Action and be qualified for participation in our program. We will be advertising the program once this is fully executed. We'll be doing things for our website, targeted communications in the newsletter. We already did a little teaser in the Mayor's Corner, thank you. And so we'll actually have an article in an upcoming newsletter that the program is up and running. Additionally, beyond that, we anticipate there's really 3 ways people will know about the program. One, they already know about it. They'll be notified by the program by city staff. So if someone calls and they're needing assistance, our staff will be able to point them towards Community Action for the application process. And also Community Action, if they're going through eligibility for other programs that they have, and they find out they're a Tualatin resident, they will let them notice that they also have the utility bill assistance program as well. So people can find out about this program in a number of ways. So passage of the resolution tonight will allow us to get Community Action to sign it and get this up and running as soon as we can and as soon as possible. If you don't approve it, unfortunately, it would really delay our implementation and significantly hamper our ability to provide this program because we just don't have the staff and the ability to do all the income verification that is happening that Community Action will do for us. The initial term of this agreement will begin with the full execution of the MOU, and it's going to run through June 30th of 2025. So we have about 1.5 years that it will happen, and then we'll be renewing it in 1-year increments, and we'll be talking about with them what the cost is each year for that. To start up the program, there is a $1,250 setup fee, one time up front, and then there will be a fee of $7,800 for that initial term, so for the 18 months. And that'll be payable in 3 installments. So we'll pay a third of it at execution, a third in June, and then the following December. So it'll cross over our fiscal years. What that includes is up to 225 screenings of applicants. Anything above and beyond the 225 will be billed us monthly at $35 per screening, which is what the dollar amount works out to be. We will use some ARPA funds for clearing off the accounts of the initial customers that are eligible, and then we will also have in the current budget water and sewer operating funds, and then we will be putting this into future budgets in all the programs that or all the different things we bill for. At that, beyond the excitement I have for you, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Don? Councilor Brooks.
Thank you very much. I'm curious what happens with people that move or get evicted if you put the $300. Like, how does that?
Since it's just a credit on their account, so if there's still a credit there, it doesn't go to them. It would so we don't actually give money to a customer. It's just on their account. So if someone were to move out, it just goes back into the program.
So it goes back into the program, so then somebody else could utilize the money if they moved in, or if they into Tualatin, or if something like that, or if they're qualified.
And we don't have a dollar limit right now on what assistance we'd be providing. We have amounts set aside in the funds, but if it comes up and beyond that, I would be in front of you asking for additional funds for that program.
Okay. And then my other question was is this just for it's for renters too that pay their own utilities, or is it just homeowners?
It's residential properties only, and it is for people that have the bill in their name.
Okay.
We did talk to Community Action about people that are renters that aren't paying it directly or so forth, and they haven't been able to figure out the way to provide that program either. So while we struggled with it for the last couple of years in our ARPA funds and so forth, Community Action's had the same struggles.
Okay. But if somebody was renting a house, then they would have their own utilities. And
if the bill is in their name, then yes, they would be eligible.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Council President Pratt.
I just have a question or suggestion is there any way, because I'm thinking of like the tolling program, they were saying only 5% of people use it. Is there a way to just print something like at the bottom of the bill saying having troubles, contact Community Action?
So there will be communications. We do have a spot on our bill that we can do on different messages each month. So we will be doing it up front. We're having there. We're also putting together some flyers about it. So there'll be a number of communications, but we'll also be able to, on an ongoing basis, put things in. It may not be every month, but there will be touch points.
Other questions? Councilor Gonzalez.
Thank you for this. I do have a couple of questions. What is how are you tracking the success of this program?
So we will be getting notifications from Community Action on a weekly basis of eligibility, and we will be putting it on the account. So we'll be tracking it on our accounts. So we'll be able to run our records to see the assistance. And the coding that we'll use in our back-end system will be able to track how much is being utilized. And I could come back to the council at different touch points and let you know how this program's going.
And are you finding a need right now? Of course, I know there's a need, but what's the need? How heavy is the need right now?
Staff consistently gets, especially when we're doing shut-offs, get people that will call and ask us about assistance needs and where they could go, and we've had to turn them to their church or other avenues that we know of. I'll be interested as we get back into the communication, especially with shut-offs, of talking to people and finding out who people out there that really need the assistance, and the people that are making choices of whether or not they're paying the utility bill or buying food or other items. So there'll be a lot more ability to find out what that need is. Talking with Community Action before, I want to say that it was over 200 applications they had processed for other programs of Tualatin residents for the first 9-ish months of their calendar year. So there is a need out there. We'll be interested to find out as we get into this and other things of finding out more about that in more detail.
Okay, and the last one is, what's the long-term sustainability of this program? How would you see this being sustainable long-term?
I do, because we can build it into our utility funds to have an assistance program. It'll be up to the council to continue. I mean, it's a budget discussion every year because it'll be part of our budget, but I anticipate that the amounts of what this will be, unless it ends up being just everybody in the city needs it, the dollar amounts that we'll be talking about will be sustainable going forward.
Sure. I believe as we go down this program, there'll be realized costs that we'll see, right? And that, of course, will be a baseline as we move forward.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councilor Brooks.
Sorry. I had one more. When you were talking about letting people know, is there going to be like a logo or a symbol that's associated with the program so that people can identify it?
We don't have plans for anything special for it. The communications that we'll have, the flyers will have our logo and Community Action's logo on it, and that. But we haven't talked about putting together anything special for it.
Thanks.
Councilor Reyes.
So one of the Facebook social media accounts I follow is Somos Tualatin, which is, I think, managed by the city. And I feel like there's a lot of information there that the city, some of our constituents are looking at. So I think that would be a great place to promote it. Just going back a little bit on Community Action, not because I just have known Community Action for a very long time, and not just here in Oregon, but it's a nationwide thing. A while back when I was in Salem, Oregon, they were helping people pay utilities, and they were only giving up to like $50 to help out. So I'm wondering do they really help people, or are they just giving them a certain amount that really, and then they would tell them, okay, go and find, the Salvation Army will give you another $50, and then the other organization is going to give you another $50. So it was almost like the person that was in need had to like run around to all these different nonprofits to collect funds to pay their utilities. So I just don't know if that's happening. That was way back in 2010. So I'm wondering if are we getting feedback from our community, our constituents saying, yes, they're helping me, yes, they are a great organization, from the recipients, right? Because, they're providing that customer service. So I'm just curious about getting feedback from those who are receiving this services, if it really is, if the organization Community Actions really is helping them, and get back on their feet and or put them in a position where they're actually can do it on their own. So I'm just curious about that.
Okay, so to clarify, are you talking about just for our program?
Yeah, for our programs here. So
Okay, so.
I just, based on my experience, I brought it to our programs here, yeah.
So our program, all we're having Community Action do for us is the income verification and letting us know if someone's eligible for our program, and then we administer it from there. So we're not sending them any money. We're keeping it all on our end. So it's all tracking on, for us, the $300, we're in control of that.
Thank you.
We figure it's a lot easier that way for the customer as well, but also that they just can provide the eligibility for us and then let us know, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
Other questions?
Should I just say a motion we adopt resolution? Yep. Okay. I motion that we adopt resolution number 5739-23.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 5739-23. Any discussion on the motions? Since this is a resolution in general business, it's done by roll call. So I'll start with Councilor Sacco.
Aye.
Councilor Hillier.
Aye.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Brooks.
Aye.
Council President Pratt.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye also. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don. We had no items removed from consent. Council communications. Anyone have any council communications? Council Hillier.
I just have a couple things. I'd like to try to keep as updated as I can about what's happening in the community. I'm not certainly the best person, but I do know that the Tualatin High School robotics team took second in a competition last weekend, which is exciting. The cheer team was in competition. There was a family, there was a cultural night, a multicultural night at the high school this last week that was attended by schools and families all over, which was a huge benefit to our community. And I think most of you know that I'm a member of the Winona Grange number 271, and I just wanted to bring up the fact that our Grange, the master of our Grange, Marilyn, she researched for months and wrote a book called Oregon State Grange, Serving Communities for 150 Years. And, she does get about a 10-cent commission per book. And so I know that she will not become a multimillionaire, but I would really encourage you, the Winona Grange is the oldest nonprofit in the city of Tualatin, and encourage you to take a look at Amazon. It is $16.99 for hardcover, and it looks like you can get it on Kindle or for $2.99 and paperback for $14.99. But I just thought it's really exciting that one of our own wrote something so amazing, and it's worth the look. So there you have it.
Councilor Reyes.
Yeah, I just want to invite the community out there and everyone here in this room to La Posada in Tualatin. We're kicking off, it's just a way of, in the Hispanic culture, kicking off Christmas time. And it's a way of announcing the Christmas Day. So they're going to do some activities. It's for the whole family. It's at the library. So if you have nothing else going on and you want to come and hang out and enjoy the singing and the food, just come and join us. December 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. And I do want to say something about our community here and I just want to thank those who are doing a lot of the public works. There is going to be some work going on Avery and Boone's Ferry, and that's going to improve our lives a little bit, and turning right and left, and all these things are happening in that intersection. So I just want to say to our community, our public works community here, in Tualatin. Thank you for thinking about almost everything in our city and improving our lives. And I just want to say to those residents that live in that area and go through that street to please have patience, but it will be better. So, thank you.
right.
Feliz Navidad.
Other communications? Council President Pratt?
It's the 14th, right?
Yep,
Okay.
hasn't changed again.
I just want to mention that you can go to the meeting with the state tolling subcommittee. They're only going to have 3 meetings. They've had one already. And you can sign up. The mayor gets a whole, it's up to 4 minutes now, isn't it? That you-
Depends on what the committee chair feels like that
Okay,
night.
well, 3 to 4 minutes to give comments about how we feel about tolling, but any member of the public can attend and try to sign up for 2 minutes. You have to do it 30 minutes in advance, but it is this Thursday, the 14th, at Wilsonville City Hall at 5:30. 5 o'clock, gee. Be there early.
Yeah, I'd say be there early because they're expecting standing room only and overflow. Others? All right, I just got 3 things. 1, actually 2, because you took 1 away, so thank you. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to read the letter regarding Grimm's. Is everyone okay with the letter being forwarded on to Metro and our opinion of the request from Grimm's to change the topsoil? I'm using the wrong term, but how they're handling the composting at Grimm's, just to leave it at be because it seems to be working well. Are we okay with it? All right. Item number 2 is I have an ask that we ask the city manager to schedule some time, ideally in a January work session, to discuss Stafford. We've got the short session coming up here pretty soon in February. The governor is hyper-focused on housing production, and will be one of her priorities. And I'd like to discuss where this council feels about Stafford, about asking about concept planning, possibly from Metro, and just have a, not a super long discussion, but a discussion on how we feel about proceeding in Stafford. If we want to deal with it, if we want to have a concept plan request, working with other cities, and the lot, so that we, because some of us haven't been on a council a long time to know about what's going on in Stafford, so in the meantime, we can get up to speed on that. I've talked to the other mayors about this, and they're aware of my ask of our city council. So my ask is that if I have 3 other folks who are interested to getting some time scheduled on a work session in January, if you would do it. So I'm for it. 2.
I'm for it as well.
All right. And with that, any other comments? Motion to adjourn? Oh, we got to say happy holidays.
Happy
Happy New
holidays.
Year, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah. Did I get them all? All right. And with that, we'll go ahead and close the Tualatin City Council meeting for tonight. Again, happy holidays. Have a terrific evening.